Coming to you from the Strings and Things studio in Ventura, California, this is the Strings Unraveled podcast.
Yay!
Woo!
All right.
I sounded like Linda.
All right.
Okay.
Good job. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to know you.
Well, last month you heard us in our hotel room talking about our trips. And if you listened to our studio book club episode that came out November 18th, then you heard us talk about If You Don't Know the Words, which was a book that we all read together. If you want to join us for the next book club adventure, we are reading Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. And that episode will come out December 16th. So I think we're going to try and keep it to once a month, like middle of the month. So you'll get a regular podcast episode from us at the beginning of the month and another one mid-month about whatever book we are working on that month. So if you want to join us, that one will come out December 16th.
Still have plenty of time because it's not too huge of a book.
No, it's in the audiobook, I think was like 9.5 hours
yeah.
or something. So it's totally doable.
Yep.
You have a couple weeks. Yeah. So let's start with, what are we working on? Let's go first.
Well, I went to, by the time this is aired, some of you will have gone to the Stitches SoCal in Pasadena, and I got to help out. I'm coming around to it. It'll make sense in a moment.
I trust you.
I got to help out Meredith at the Yarn Over truck, help her set up. And Kaity of Yarn Love Yarns was there and had a huge display. She brought all kinds of yummy goodness. And I came prepared. I had 2 samples, future class samples or projects I wanted to work on. So one of them is called Square Root by Mary Annarella of Lyrical Knits. She also makes, I think she makes yarns, or maybe it's just pattern, but Root spelled R-O-U-T-E, and it's a real fan of mitered squares, and it's 3 ginormous mitered squares that are done separately and then held together by some half squares, also known as triangles, but we call them half squares.
Half square triangles.
Half square triangles, exactly.
A half square could be a rectangle too, so it's probably good to.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Half square triangles.
Probably good to clarify.
And I felt the whole time we set up and we were there for the preview night so people could come in, and I saw lots of people from Ventura County there and some people who hadn't seen us since we worked at the yarn shop. So it was kind of nice to share my business card.
Well done.
Those colors are beautiful.
I know. There's this one color I kept coming back to over and over again, and it's called Living Coral.
It's gorgeous.
And it's a variegated. The yarn is Juliet. It's her sock base. And compared to the other 2, it feels a little cottony, but it's not. It's merino and nylon. It's 20% nylon with superwash, and it's got pale pink, and corally melon colors and dark salmon. And when you see it in the skein, it's just like calls to you. And every single base, whether it was chunky or, I just loved it. And so that's my main color. And I'm totally mixing bases and mixing weights ever so slightly, because one of these is I've got the variegated, but then the other one that I also fell in love is called Flamingo. And it's interesting. So once I wound it up, is it just me, or does the outer section look slightly darker?
I find that happens often
with indie dyers.
Yeah, with
Okay.
like semi-solid yarns.
Yeah.
Sometimes the innermost part of the skein is a little bit lighter. I don't know exactly how that happens, but I have noticed that before.
But this color is called Flamingo, and it has little crystally clear sparkles on it. So it got a little bit of shiny
A
happening.
little sparkle.
That flamingo needs to eat more shrimp.
Yeah, he's not
Yes.
pink enough.
Yeah. Maybe he was the puny one, but this one has a lot of yards, and this yarn base is called Marie Antoinette, probably because of all the sparkles. And so those play well together. And then the other one the colorway is called Bear Sheep, which means it's not dyed. And it's got one of my favorite, instead of silk merino or silk mohair blends, one of my favorite blends is actually an Asuri alpaca, because it's just it's fuzzy, but it's not scratchy, and it has just a little more substance to it. I don't know, it's got more fluff. And that is the Catherine of Aragon base with 75% Suri alpaca, 25% silk, and it creates this really soft, halo-y, fuzzy, but not, I mean, maybe a lapel, I don't know, it's a shawl. I'm not going to be...
Every yarn pills eventually.
Every yarn pills happen. It does. But I started this just a few days ago, and I'm already almost done with the first square. I guess it's going to block a lot bigger. My gauge is kind of close. I find that for a shawl, I'm not worrying too much about it, and because I know that I have a tendency now to go a little smaller, I just automatically size up a needle.
Yeah. Pretty.
But yeah, so that's, and you start most of them the same way. She has you end each of your main squares, mitered squares, slightly differently. But I haven't done a mitered square class in a long time. And most of the time, whenever I've ever done mitered squares, you start with a larger number.
I was going to say, usually
decrease.
you decrease.
Yeah, so this one, you start with a small number and you increase.
Yeah.
It's knit front and back on either side of the marker.
I wonder,
knit everything else.
There's no reason to do it one way versus the other, like in terms of the pattern, right? Like, could you knit it the other direction?
You really could. I mean, because she gives you the stitch counts at the end of each section. One of the really wonderful things that made me feel like if I wasn't married, that this one would be my soulmate. Is because
you have a platonic soulmate.
She's my platonic soulmate. She doesn't know that.
I was going to say, do you know this woman?
Not personally, but I am a real fan of squares for marking off my repeats. And
she gave you little
She
squares?
does. She gives you all these
That's
little
nice.
tiny squares. After that, like, there's one section that says, still working with contrast color 1, work the following 2 garter square rows, which the whole thing is 2 rows over and over and over again, a total of 16 times. And there's like these 16 tiny little squares.
That's very
At the end of square 1, she gives you instructions, but then for square 2 only, please note that you'll need to reprint or use a different colored pencil to check off the boxes again.
That's funny.
But it's like, look, she gave me squares. So she's wonderful. The other thing by the same designer, oddly enough, because it wasn't planned that way, is the Great British Baking Shawl. She came up with this really clever pattern that it's a mystery shawl. Although the last clue came out today, so it's not a mystery anymore. So I did peek ahead, even though, as per usual, I got as far as clue 2.
And now you're bored.
I'm not bored.
Oh.
I just
Sometimes you just stall out.
I stay on top for the first 2 weeks of any particular mystery knit along, and then other things in life happen, and I'm like, okay, I got to think of other things. This was fun. I stayed on top, and I did print out clue 3.
Yeah, because you were like really on fire.
I was on fire.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not hard to get through them. It's really well written. It's a nice little sampler. You get a little bit of everything. But it's only like 12 to 16 rows of half of your stitches. So it's not a lot to do, and you get to change colors.
It's been fun to see all the different projects people are coming in with, because a lot of people are doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I put out a little challenge. I got really enthusiastic, and I said, I love this. Who wants to do it with me? You just come and show up on a drop-in. It's not like a regular class, and you go to your own pace, because Lord knows I'm going to. And I did peek ahead, since I know what clue 4 is going to look like.
Do you want to finish it now that you've seen the end?
I totally want to finish it.
Nice.
Because sometimes you'll peek ahead
And
and be like,
I'm so not telling anybody, because it's really good. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
But it's really exciting to see, like, because we got our yarn from Miss Babs. Some people are doing stash yarn, and it's coming out just as stunning and wonderful. Some of us decided to go and have the decisions made for us as to what 12 colors to put together. And there's really something kind of relaxing to buying a pre-made kit of yarn and not having to think about what goes what.
Treat.
It is a treat, which is
Someone
also
did all the hard work.
Which is also why I was able to keep up to Clue 2. But now I'm getting into my second bag of little tiny, what do you call these? I guess they're mini skeins. Yeah, these mini skeins have like 120 something yards on them each.
Pretty good.
So they're pretty sizable mini skeins.
I noticed like Forbidden Fibers minis were 150.
Oh wow, it is kind of nice to.
That's a nice amount.
Sometimes you just need the 40 or 50 yards, but sometimes you're like, oh, I need twice that. I don't want to have to spend twice that.
Yeah.
Because mini skeins are not financially as cheap as buying whole skeins, but you're paying for someone else doing the winding and measuring it out. So
yeah,
for this time it was a real treat, and I enjoy it. And I really like this designer's aesthetic of her, how she's doing it. Because going back to square root, when I go to put them together, when I do the half square triangles, then I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to be decreasing. I'll be picking up stitches and then working it to a decrease.
Right. Cool.
Actually, I take it back. I lied. I'm not picking up stitches because for the most part, you're putting stitches on a holder, so you don't even have to. You just knit off the holder. So
gotta have one lion episode. Hopefully I said we've got to have one lion episode. I guess hopefully that's it.
That's right. Nobody else gets to lie. Of course, I use.
Damn.
Am I the one who uses up that lie every time?
Nah.
I don't know. It probably changes.
Okay.
Well, I am working on Secret Christmas Project. We'll talk about it later. Maybe next time. Probably not next time. I mean, because I have the thought that maybe one of my children does listen to this.
It's a secret because the recipient may or may not be listening.
Yeah,
got it.
But next time he will or she, because it's a secret, he or she will have already had it.
I can talk about it by then because I'll be done by then, or I will have given up for another year. And
how is it going this year?
It's going much better.
Oh, good.
Because there were 2 years where I previously worked on it. So the pre-work's pretty well done. And then I am almost done, but it's not truly done. So I want to do my victory lap when it's really done. I have been crocheting on a project that someone brought to the Dream Project class, and it's called Hidden Hills.
Yeah,
it's by awesome. Jenny King. You can buy it as a kit from Annie's Attic. The novelty of this, it's a triangle shaped crocheted shawl with bobbles, back post stitches and fans and cross stitches. So those are the fancy schmancy things. The pattern calls for 4 self-striping yarns that you then change between. And it's only like 1 to 4 rows that you're on the same color. And so that adds like a lot of variety to how the colors worked out.
Because no 2 colors really ever match up again, do they? Not really.
I mean, only if you're crossing over in the same color.
Right.
So it adds like an element of randomness that I don't think, because humans are actually really bad at random. So even if they're trying, so
it looks very scrappy.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting to do it in a gentle self-striping and have no ends or very few ends at the end. But I probably have like 100 ends to weave in, so I can't really claim it as done. And then you're supposed to put tassels on the corners of the triangle.
But it looks like it's really engaging. One of those, you can't wait to get to the next color combo.
Mostly.
Yeah. It reminds me of something that Molly Weasley would wear.
Yeah, I've been totally... Get out of my head.
Sorry.
I've been totally thinking...
It just reminds me of her.
I should call this project my Weasley shawl.
Yeah.
Should I ask who that is?
Molly Weasley?
Yeah,
the mother
Harry
of the
Potter?
Weasley children from Harry Potter?
Oh, I only came to Harry Potter late. Sorry.
Not my daughter, you. Bleepity blip. Do we use adult language here?
You could say bitch.
You fucking bitch, I think she
No.
says. Oh, that's what I say.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
That's what I say.
I might have to bleep that one.
Well, why is that word okay?
I don't know.
And I mean, why is bitch okay and the other word's not?
Adding the extra adjective just adds an element of harshness.
Well, she was going to kill her daughter.
Oh, I thought you were calling me that.
Wow.
Okay. I think you totally have to leave it in now. I'm like,
That is really on Wednesday
we are
night,
really great
apparently.
friends, and I know you apologized earlier.
Yeah,
for,
but I
for
did not
snarking
call
at
you that, so I am not apologizing for it.
That is a direct
Okay.
quote from the last Harry Potter movie.
Well, it was an augmented direct.
And added some colorful language. Wow.
I mean,
colorful metaphors. I'm so glad we
I mean,
figured that out. I'm trying to laugh that one off.
Oh
and it
my
ended up
god!
I know we're great
What kind of
friends,
animals
but
what kind of animal do you think Katie is? Because she was laughing pretty good.
I'm like, Anne. Yelling at Karin again.
Aw, it's so
you
fun.
poor king bench.
No, I was
That's a good place version of that.
I was talking about Molly Weasley protecting her daughter, Ginny,
Okay.
and how this shawl definitely
Oh,
It
the
has-
Weasleys. I love them.
Do you? Because you didn't know who Molly Weasley was.
I didn't. Okay, I only know the brothers.
Okay.
You are
Yay.
just Mirabella
I'm
is the same.
behind.
She is very bad at people's names. Like she
Horrible
could sit
things.
across from you
I
forever.
didn't actually see the movies. I only heard the audiobooks. So
Okay.
that's my
well, I'm
defense.
pretty sure she says it that way in the books.
Cool.
No one's buying it.
Anne is trying to push 2 lies this episode.
It's a 2-lie week, people.
Well, I take them without any permission, so if we're giving out one an episode now, I feel like I should to get that and then some.
Oh, that's right. She didn't get. She's just catching up with the ones that she missed out on previous.
Oh, right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
Fair's fair.
yes, I feel like that, but it's not finished because there are a lot of ends to weave in, and no one should get credit for that until all those ends are woven in. I'm wondering if I can
Yeah.
like be very careful and use it for the tassels, because with the remaining yarn I used a self-striping sock yarn, and with the remaining yarn I would love to make some ankle socks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I weighed all of them, and they range from 40 to 64 grams. So I could maybe make the tassels out of the 60-ish ones.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've made ankle socks out of around 50 grams with a little leftover. So I don't know if I had 9 grams left over.
Yeah.
So,
Might be cutting it close.
yeah. So we'll see.
Cool.
I'll play.
Living dangerously.
Yeah.
Running with scissors.
Well, I'm doing them toe up. So I can avoid the terrible general.
Toe down.
That grafting
Cuff
at your
up.
toe.
Yeah.
And also add yarn at the cuff that will coordinate, so all will not be
You
lost.
could do like heels and toes
Yeah.
if
So
you needed to.
I'm gonna do Fleagel's heel
It's been a while since I've done that
because
one.
I think that is what fits my high arch best. It's a great heel. It's very
I
fun.
have arch envy.
You have flat.
I have like
feet.
the
That's
flattest
something.
feet.
I have high and wide feet. Not terribly wide.
My dad says that I have Flintstone feet.
Well, if you need to drive a car by paddling really fast with your
I'm
feet,
your girl.
you've got it. Lots of surface tension. Or no, that's not right. I was static friction. And so I'm making socks. I'm weaving in ends. I'm working on a secret project. I told you guys all this mythic story of how I was going to work 30 minutes on across 6 projects, and that is a lie. That is my big lie. So
I forgot about that.
I couldn't.
I
put-
make
could
these
not
insane
put something
plans.
down.
No, it's not about the putting something down. It's that I think I did some self-analysis. I made this like very stringent plan, and then I completely rejected it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, great plan, Anne. Let's go do something else. So then I turned to sewing, and I have been a little like wanting to make this thing for a long time by looking at people on Instagram, which is the Tamarack jacket from Grain Line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like, it's always better for me to see their patterns in action on people.
Yeah.
Because the simple silhouettes do not usually appeal to me until I see someone wearing it and styling it well.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tamarack jacket has been made many times and many times well. So I have a whole bunch of really cool flannel that was given to me by an excellent human being, and I'm going to mix and match that into one. But I also needed to alter the bust and the hips a little bit. So I'm making one out of like a brushed navy denim and a blue and white gingham check that's like on almost a canvas first. And I made a welt pocket last night. And it's the first welt pocket I've made in probably a decade. And it's magic. Have you guys ever made a welt pocket?
Mm-mm.
It's magic.
What is it besides magic?
I'm going to grab it in a minute and interrupt Katie when she's talking. I'll show you.
That sounds good.
And then I'm going to get back to Sew Your View, the online, the Instagram profile with a pattern a month where you build your skills. They have a really cool pattern from Simplicity. It's $89.82, and it's a dress and 2 shirt styles and 2 skirt styles that I'm thinking I will make one set, but I'm also thinking I'll make a very good capsule wardrobe, which I was doing earlier in the year, and it was a really nice way to make my pieces go further and keep me engaged with what I have. So those are the things I'm thinking about. I've completely rejected the things that I was working on that I talked about last time. Because this is not the time of year for structured focus on things that aren't... because even though I talk about being a selfish maker, there's still like a lot of... The things I am going to make still require the focus and time that they require.
Yeah.
And there's things I want to wrap up for the year that weren't on that list. And so maybe that's more of a January plan.
Sure.
I think I'll revisit it in January.
And you might enjoy it better when you've gotten the end of the year stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or I'll never ever do that, and what a silly idea. We'll see. So what are you working on, Katie?
Well, first I want to say if you can hear a leaf blower, I don't know why they decide to leaf blow at night now, but they do.
It's completely dark outside.
Yeah,
They cannot
I know.
see these leaves.
If it gets loud, we might have to relocate into someone's office so that you don't have to listen to leaf blowers. So we're sorry if you.
Because mine's in the front.
Well, we could go to mine and sit on the couch if we needed to.
Oh, she's got cozy couches.
Anne is coming back with her pocket.
Okay.
Is this the inner, like the inside of the jacket? Okay.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
the Tamarack jacket is quilted
Uh-huh.
and technically unlined in a sense because the
Do you have to like finish the seams?
so I'm gonna Hong Kong finish
Oh, wow,
all the
what?
seams.
Hong Kong
I've done
seams.
it
She talked about it
before,
before.
I'm actually even using the same binding because I made
The same binding
Uh-huh.
kind.
50
Okay.
yards of it.
I didn't know if Hong Kong was the actual term.
It is the age-old term.
That's awesome.
It probably, like all those things, it's
Look how
not
beautiful that is.
socially acceptable. It is probably, has nothing to do with Hong Kong, but that's what
they're
it's called.
called.
Okay, so I quilted
It's
all
beautiful.
the pieces last night. There's 2 sleeves, a back, and 2 fronts. And this is the welt.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
That's cool.
So it's a pocket with a really pretty simple finish on the outside.
Do you like tack those down?
Yeah, I have to hand sew them, and I'm not ready to do any hand sewing yet. So, and then the pocket is beautifully
It's like
tucked on the inside.
Beautiful
That's
little
awesome.
gingham. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So,
And
I
everything
mean-
about it is completely clean and finished.
yeah, and that's what's both not actually really my aesthetic most of the time, but also when you see people wearing it, it just such a nice finish on people's
I have
outfits.
been wanting to make that for a long time, but they haven't had it in my size.
Yeah.
But they are grading
Expanding.
their new, like a new size range. So eventually I will be able to make it.
So it's a grain line pattern. Have you seen the 2 that are in the 14 and on?
Yes.
And I can't wait to have those. As soon as Kelly gets them at Super Buzzy, I will be grabbing them, which is where I bought my pattern because I just didn't feel like printing it
Yes.
and tiling it. I didn't feel like waiting for the printer to print it in large
Taping
format.
it.
Yeah. My boss let me leave work 10 minutes early, and I went and picked it up in person.
Yeah.
And I got to take part in their holiday sale they're having.
And
so,
you get to see Kelly and say hi.
yes, which is delightful on all counts. So anyway, she said she carries their full line. She doesn't know. She didn't say when they'd get it, but they'll
Do
get
you know what the name of the 2, at least one of the...
No,
I don't
it's a
think
really
I can
cute.
look it up.
I really like their
look.
patterns. I've enjoyed making
Well-
stuff from them because their instructions are...
I don't know that I've
Well,
made anything else. I think I've just
I've
admired
made their
things.
cardigan that I never can remember the name of
It's
twice.
like a name of a place, right? Or something, or like a landmark,
Something like
mountain,
that.
something.
I don't know. But I love that cardigan. I wear it all the time. And I think I changed my second one. I don't remember how. I think I just made a larger size, but it's real cozy. I'm looking up the name of it right now.
Fabric?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The skirt is called Reed, Reed, and the jacket is
Reed.
Yeah, the jacket is
Skirt.
fair, which it's not as appealing. But the Reed skirt is me all day.
Yeah, that's cute.
yeah.
Button-up skirt, pockets. I love it.
It's called the driftless cardigan.
Driftless.
That's-
Yeah, none of the things
made
I
that
used to
twice.
describe it.
I can never remember the name of it.
Ooh, the driftless cardigan with the reed skirt.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be adorable. Yeah, I think this is the first thing I'm actually making from their pattern line.
Cool.
I've admired their patterns a long time. I did have to alter the bust, and I didn't. I want this now.
Yeah.
So
you didn't want to wait.
I didn't want to wait for them to grade it. So I'm making this one as, a wearable muslin. It's probably the most intense wearable muslin of my life.
Yeah. The fabric on the outside is so soft and snuggly feeling.
Yeah, it's this great brushed twill. And I have to say, something about knitting has influenced my willingness to take my time in my sewing at times. I'm still fast and dirty. So don't.
Depends on the project, though.
But
I don't know, but finishing those edges, there's nothing fast and dirty about it. But in the long run, you're gonna love it a lot longer.
But I made a swatch. This is a sewing swatch right here. So I took my
Whoa.
outer fabric, my inner fabric, and the batting, and I made a tiny little mini quilt sandwich. And I practiced my binding to make sure that, because it's a pretty skinny binding, it's skinnier than the pattern calls for. And I wanted to make sure that it would be realistic to use it as the binding as well as the Hong Kong seaming. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like it, but it is technically a muslin because I want to see if I slashed at the shoulder, went all the way down, added what I needed in the bust, which was about 2 inches overall, which by doing that triangle shape, I think I got what I needed in the hips also. But as the point of size inclusivity is, you shouldn't have to do that too much.
Yeah, for sewing patterns, you have to grade to fit your body, a little bit, but you shouldn't have to make yourself a new.
That's the one with the awesome purple buttons.
Yeah,
that you
this
made.
is the Sew Your View from May, I think. I don't remember what number it is. It's also a simplicity pattern, but I
because
grouped
I
the buttons
really
by
like the
twos.
way the buttons are by twos.
Yeah.
I'm referring to something that Anne's wearing.
Yes, and I love this dress.
It looks super comfortable.
It's very nice. Someone at work said, "Whoa, your shirt is big," and I said, "Oh, that's a dress."
That's because it's a dress.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, because it's a shirt dress. Just so you know. So
Okay.
back to Katie. Thanks for letting me interrupt.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's a
What
pretty
is
cool
that
pocket.
really soft, romantic, fuzzy? And what are the yarns that you're using with it? I think you're doing.
This is a test
you
knit
do?
for Jessie Mae Martinson, who is my favorite designer. I love her. I test knit her worsted ripple crop top earlier this year. This is called the Cozy Classic Raglan, and it is a pattern that's going to be coming out, I'm assuming, probably in like the new year. And it is a raglan, top down pullover, nothing too fancy. It's got it's written for either fingering held with a strand of mohair or a DK weight, which you could probably also get away with a worsted weight because I think the gauge is 18. So it's knitted with the fingering and mohair, which is what I'm doing. It's very light and soft and fluffy. And the yarn is the fingering weight I'm using is I got from Stitches last year, and it is Stitch Together Studios sock, and the colorway is called Shrimp on the Barbie. And I was knitting a different sweater with it, but then decided that this was what it was destined for. So this is what I'm working on, and I'm trying my hardest to knit it as fast as I can. I think I cast on Thursday last week, maybe Wednesday, and I've separated for the sleeves, and I'm chugging along on the body.
You like frogged and behaved well.
What do you mean?
Like you frogged and reskeined your yarn. And
Did
got
you
it
go in my
wet.
office and
I
see
went
my
in your
yarn
office for
drying?
something, and I saw your yarn. I'm like, what is this skinny
Yeah.
little hank? Because it was not a big hank that you would have dyed yourself. And I'm
No.
like, where'd this come from?
It was.
What's this?
I had gotten through one skein of this yarn in the yoke of a different sweater, and then I ripped it out. But it had been sitting for so long that I decided I should block it, you know. So I soaked it. I reskeined it. I soaked it. I let it dry. Yes. So I ripped out the previous sweater, and that's what this is going to be now.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
kind of
I'm
freeing when you
impressed.
repurpose something. Don't
Yeah,
you think?
I was thinking about buying yarn, and I didn't really have the budget for what I wanted, and I was trying not to settle for something that I didn't like. And then I remembered I had this pink in my stash, and then I'm holding it with a strand of mohair that I had one ball in my stash, and it's Knit Picks Aloft is their like mohair silk blend.
Oh, gotcha.
I had one ball of this pink, and it was like the perfect pink to go with it. So then all I had to do was buy, I think I bought 4 more balls of the mohair, which it's like $7 a ball or something. So
Not bad.
no,
It's gorgeous.
and it was the perfect pink complement. It's like Pepto-Bismol pink with all these neon sparkles.
But it doesn't look
A little
like
bit of
Pepto-Bismol
black.
pink. It's just as barely there pink. Because the other colors really get to pop through it.
Yeah, it's got like serious neon pops of like there's some neon yellow, but it's all very muted now that I'm holding it with the mohair. Like it softens it a little bit.
They play really nicely together.
Thank you.
It's a confection.
It's very
Oh,
fun and it's making me
Candy,
happy.
Yes.
I'm trying to knit it as fast as I can because I signed up for this test knit just because I really like Jessie and I wanted to make her pattern. But I also want to get back to my Christmas sweater that I haven't worked on because I'd like to be able
Yes.
to make that this year. I don't know if it's going to work.
That
I know.
Do it for us so we can see you.
I'm
in
gonna
it.
try. I was like, maybe I can finish this sweater by Thanksgiving, which would be like,
You got.
I think I have 9
week and a
days.
half.
Yeah.
I did that thing where I timed how long it took me to go around.
Smart.
And I think I have about 8 hours of knitting until I get to the hem. So I think I figured out if I can knit at least 3 inches on the body a day, then I will have enough time to knit the sleeves and finish it in time.
Perfect.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
actually kind of reasonable.
Yeah, and the
Depending
sleeves,
on what you have ahead of yourself in the next 9 days.
nothing really too exciting. Well, I have a birthday party on Saturday, but
You can
I
bring
figured
your
it out.
knitting to that.
Can you knit in jury duty now?
I will try my hardest. I have to go to jury duty tomorrow.
I brought my crate sweater and I got a lot of. I got through like half the front body and a sleeve. I think.
Mhm.
Like I got a lot.
Yeah, if I even get, I switched. I was on metal needles. I just switched to wood ones, so that I could try and get through the metal detector a little bit easier. Because I hear from half the people they had either no problem or they weren't allowed to bring their knitting.
I was
So-
there only a short time ago.
Yeah.
In May, I think.
Well, I'm gonna try my best.
Yeah.
Because if I can knit all day tomorrow, then I'm gonna get a crap ton done.
You'll be fine.
Yep. So the only other thing I'm working on, apart from this, although I'm not actively working on it, is my Christmas sweater, which I don't remember if I talked about.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah. But you
So
should talk about it again. 'Cause it's pretty cute.
I haven't really touched it since, but it's Tin Can Knits is the Strange Brew is the pattern, and it's like a choose your own adventure. So I designed some color work charts for the yoke, and it's got Christmas trees and Santas.
The Santa
And
heads
hollies.
are so cute.
Holly
We
berries.
talked about the directionality.
Yep. And we want Santa to be
Smile
smiling.
again.
So I haven't worked on it. I started the body, and I'm about halfway through the body before I would join the sleeves. So
Yeah, because my secret project has stranding, so I've kind of thought about that a
Mhm.
little bit. I am not changing what I'm doing, but it was a nice thought experiment.
Yeah. But that's all. I mean, this is really all I'm working on is just trying to get this done.
Can I add one more thing? I didn't think about it because I haven't actually wound the yarn yet.
You could say you're working on it, though.
But I am doing a test knit, and it was part of the planning. I needed to know what yarn to get.
Then you're
It's-
officially working
You're
on
working on it.
It reminds me of that old Saturday Night Live sketch. What are you looking at? You're looking at my gut, aren't you? I'm working on it.
it. Uh-huh.
Anyway, so let me get you the right.
Is
so
that
it's
what
called
you're quoting
Beats.
when you say that?
Yeah,
I never knew that.
yeah, that's from Saturday Night Live. It was Chris
Dan
Farley.
Aykroyd.
Chris
Oh,
Farley. Chris Farley.
God.
Yeah.
Sure you are, honey.
Okay. So it's a designer. The sweater is a yoke Fair Isle type sweater, not Fair Isle, just stranded sweater called Beats and Bones. It should be coming out next March by Gigi Alagome.
Okay.
And she's on Ravelry. And I talk about size inclusion. It starts with just on the bust size, starting with a 33 1/4 inch, and it goes all the way up to a 75 inch.
Wow.
Middle. I mean,
What's the intended ease?
Anywhere from 4 to 6 inches.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I mean, and here's an independent designer who, she's doing all the work, doing all this herself, and I love she's like, make whatever size you want, choose the yarn you want. I'm not. She's not restricting like the number of test knitters to one per size. She's like, I'm just happy to have test knitters. You choose whatever size you want. You don't need to check in with me about what size you choose.
Yeah, but then doesn't that leave it up to chance that not all the sizes are going to get tested?
Yeah, I think most people were conscious of that, and that's why when they did let her know, and they did let other people know which sizes they intended. But she gives you such a big range. I mean, there's 2 inches in between each of it goes from A to U. There's a lot of sizes. There's a lot of sizes. And of course I didn't bring, here's the picture. I'm like, I knew I printed out something with a picture. There you go. So this was part of my yarn acquisition at Stitches from Yarn Over Truck. This time I did not get Yarn Love. Instead, I got Forbidden Fibers. And the yarn base is Pride. Well, the main sweater is Pride, which has sparkles. I'm just like in a real sparkle phase,
I love that you're pink and sparkles.
Yeah.
And what?
Pink and sparkles.
Pink and sparkles.
The
Well,
Karin
this one-
I met a long time ago was not that.
A few people have asked me, is this a sweater for your niece? I'm like, heck no, it's a sweater for me. She might have to make a mini one to match her, but
Yeah.
Yep.
You're a
Grown
better
women
person.
can wear whatever color they like. Now, this, if anyone knows me, they will not be surprised that my main sweater is going back to my tried and true. What do you think? Turquoise. But turquoise with sparkles. And I like this colorway is called Jewelry Boss.
Jewelry Boss?
Jewelry Boss. Like,
Okay.
I'm the boss. It's from the Boss collection.
All
And
of her colorways are like references to pop culture, aren't they?
I think so.
I
Wondering
think
what that
she's
is.
trying to start her own story too, though. That steampunk thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
Did you notice that at all? Because there was a gorgeous colorway in it that I was considering.
I didn't go to the website. I just went to
No,
what's
at
on
It
the
was
Stitches.
truck.
at
Oh, it's
Stitches
Stitches.
in their thing.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't go to Stitches.
Oh,
And then I got 2 gluttonies. One,
I really like that base. It feels so good and squishy.
it is really squishy. This is a gluttony sock, but it's an 80/20, but something about the way it's plied.
Yeah,
I knit a
It's
shawl with
very
it last year. I really
squishy.
like it.
So it's great for sweaters, great for socks, and yet they're nice and soft. And this one's got various shades of darkest plum with a little bit of like a gray but mostly purples, and that's my main contrast. And that is called Design Boss, which
Okay.
I like to design
That's
things.
you?
That's
Design
me.
Boss?
Design Boss. And the other one is Archangel Wings, which is just kind of like a parchment.
Mm-hmm.
Various shades of parchment.
Kind of reminds me of Antler.
Yay.
Yes, exactly. It's a lot like Antler.
Very pretty.
Yeah, so that's what it's going to be.
Sure.
I don't really have to start till January, but I keep looking at it, and I really, really want to cast on. But, got to get those class samples done. So I keep it where I can see it because that's my carrot to keep working on getting these other things done so I can get to the reward. Anyway.
I also blew most of my wad at Forbidden Fibers.
They have such good colors.
I'm very proud of myself, though, because in a sense, I thought about this for a year. I bought the Ravenclaw colorway, which I thought about really hard last time, but resisted.
I almost bought the Hufflepuff colorway
couldn't
set, but
remember
I
if you
didn't.
did or didn't.
I didn't.
Okay, but look, by going to the one with sparkles, I was able to reduce my main color from 4 skeins to 3.
Well,
That's
that's
awesome.
good. That's
So
a lot of yardage.
that's $29 saved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
And also
it's
you get a sparkly
almost
sweater by the end of it.
500 yards. It's 495 yards.
That's a lot.
You with your pragmatic decisions and sparkling yarn. No one's gonna buy the story.
Sorry. It's the sparkles are the most practical thing.
Yes.
But see,
Obviously.
now, my contrast colors do not have sparkles because let's not overdo the sparkles.
All the sparkle.
All the sparkles.
That's what this project is missing that I'm knitting on. It needs
It's
the sparkle.
sparkles.
Oh, it does.
No, it really
I
doesn't.
don't
That
know.
would,
No, no, no.
that would be a lot.
Let's add another element.
No, no, no.
Other.
So what have you finished?
What have I finished?
Yeah.
I finished one thing.
All right.
And it's a
Karin,
hat.
Karin.
It's a hat.
Hey, you finished something.
Well, okay. I did finish a costume.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
good too.
I finished a
Talk
costume.
about that.
No, I don't want to
Okay,
talk about that.
that's
Well,
fine.
I'll talk
Don't.
kind of about the
Don't.
costume.
You don't
Talk
have
about
to.
Well, I'll talk about the hat first.
Okay.
Because I was working on the hat on our trip.
Mhm.
And I love this Plankenstella yarn. It's so fun. It's called, I was talking about making it last time, and I
Yeah.
finished it.
Good job.
Call him Squishy.
Yep.
From one of my favorite movies also.
That's what I call my daughter.
Squishy?
Yes, because we were watching it when she was little, and she was so squishy, and that became her nickname.
And this is designed by Melissa Lambino, the genius behind Plankenstella yarn. But she also designed this it's a garter stitch, knit around, purl around, knit around, purl around. Do a little bit of a brioche. But the brioche that she paired with it is kind of fun because you've got your main DK yarn, but then you have like the fuzzy yarn, which is much lighter. So
I
it
did
keeps
mine
it from
all the
being too
same.
hot.
Like she has a 1 color and a 2 color version.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a fun pattern. I would make it again.
I
I have a
definitely-
friend on Instagram who's like just keeps cranking them out.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It could become your potato chip.
Also, the contrast color, you only need a tiny bit, so it'd be a good
Exactly.
stash buster too. Because everybody has like a tiny ball of DK left from a sweater or something, you know?
The really, really fun, interesting part is how she does the top. And I'm not going to say how it is because that's a fun surprise.
I had like in my mind what was going to happen at the end, and then I got ready to close it up, and I was like, oh, wait, what am I doing? I had to like stop and think about it a little harder. Not that it
Yeah.
was hard, but it would like threw me for a loop that I was like, oh, wait, I'm not doing just cinching it up at the top.
It was a really fun surprise.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this was already fun. And then she just added another element of something I'd never done before. I'm like, oh, that's so fun. Anyway,
Cool.
you'll have to make one yourself to understand what we're saying. It's one of those I don't want to spoil. I don't want to be a spoiler. And that would be giving that away is totally being a spoiler. Anyway, so I finished one thing. I did finish. I'm reaching out of my knitwear and crochet wear comfort zone, and I'm designing a sewing pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finished a prototype
Cool.
before I cut into the woven fabric that I made. But anyway, I'll talk more about that in a future episode. When I actually
When the
have,
pattern is
because you know, like until you weave in the ends, it's not really finished.
Yeah.
This is a bag without hardware.
it's in progress.
so it's not.
that doesn't count for this
It's
segment.
mostly.
No. Yeah.
Oh, it's mostly finished.
I'll let it slide because I let Anne slide with her shawl that wasn't her ends weren't woven in. So what have you finished, Anne?
I didn't finish this round that I made a big mistake on.
Oh,
Dang.
Wait, that's not right. It's
do you want me to come back to you?
no, I can talk. I just reversed a pattern and I looked like I didn't do my chart right, but I did. What have I finished? Okay, so when I do something, I do it 100%. So when I rejected my knitting plan, I 100% turned away from it, and I sewed like a madwoman the first couple weeks of this month.
Mm-hmm.
I made 4 pajama pants.
Oh, I saw all those. Yeah.
Mine have a rhinoceros wearing a leather jacket on a white background.
You had some of the best fabric.
So this was, I was reflecting, it's all snuggle flannel from Joann's, and I was reflecting on how far that fabric has evolved, because I worked for Joann's when it was like a new one when I was in high school, and that's over 20 years ago. And they've had it consistently since, and it's just gotten more and more novel and broad. Like, if there's something you want on flannel, they are probably going to print it on flannel. If there's not, then you better go to Spoonflower and get it there.
I will say I made pajama pants in Snuggle probably 3 years ago now, but I don't wear them all the time, but they have, like, the seams have started to come apart.
Oh, yeah, it's not good fabric.
No.
We're talking about Joanne's fabric.
It's got amazing prints and really cute things, but they're not going to last you forever.
Yeah, it's terrible fabric.
I will tell you, the ones I made from Snuggle last year for the family, they still wear all the time. Throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer.
I think
so far, it's holding up, but it's only been 1 year, so.
But I have some Dante made me for a gift exchange, and those are not wearing well. So I think it's a hit or miss. It's kind of like
it probably is
with Joanne's. You get anywhere from first to third run quality fabric, but
and thicknesses vary.
Yes, like my rhinoceros fabric is actually quite luscious. But something like I made Dante something else, and it wasn't nice at all. Mirabella got cuter rhinos because the San Diego Zoo is doing a promotion to raise money for rhinos and awareness, and they're calling them chubby unicorns. And she was very excited about that. We saw the rhinoceros at the San Diego Zoo run, which I have never seen one of them run.
Is it exciting to see?
It is.
Is it scary? Because rhinos are kind of scary.
Yes, but it wasn't like charging like you think on the plains of Africa.
I fed a rhino once.
You did?
I fed a rhino an apple once.
Oh,
it was
great.
great.
Got all over your hand.
No, I kind of just dropped it into his gross mouth.
They're like quite neat.
That was on our honeymoon.
That's one of my mom's favorite stories from my little brother. Is we were at the LA Zoo when we were very little, and it was mating season, so there's like signs everywhere that say, "Shh, be quiet. The animals need quiet, not to be
don't
stressed
kill the
right
vibe."
now." Yeah, and so everybody's very quietly observing the rhinos. But there's mucus dripping from everywhere.
Ew.
My little brother goes, he's probably like 5. He says, somebody should tell him to wipe his nose. Which was like not the noticeable thing that was dripping mucus.
I was wondering where that sentence was going to
end. So,
gross.
Yeah. Then for Dante, I made him ones with airplanes, and then there's great jungle fabric with a gray background with orangutans, baboons, and gorillas.
Oh, I loved that. That was really cute.
It was all primates we had seen at the zoo. So it was all stuff that reflected our trip to San Diego.
Are these presents? Are you spoiling anything?
Okay, good. No, I gave them to them because we all needed pajama pants. Dante's always complaining. My children are really gross about wearing pajamas for like from Friday, the same pair of pajamas from Friday to Monday morning. And, I can't find the clean ones. I need new ones that fit me. All right, here's some new pajamas. And then I made Alexander ones with a red background with kitties. They're realistically drawn kitties. So this is my 6'2", 19-year-old son, and he loves cats. And red's his favorite color. Except I was very tired when I went to cut that one out. And it's a one-way direction fabric, so kitties point one way, and then they point the other way. Everyone else's was one-way direction, too, and I remembered to cut it in half and flip the other piece.
I always hate when I don't think about it when I'm buying fabric. And then, like, especially something with, like, stripes or straight lines, I never think about it when I'm buying fabric until I go to cut it. I'm like, why did I pick this?
Yeah.
I have to think so much harder.
I do try to be conscientious of it, but that is a complaint about the snuggle flannel is that so much of it is one-directional. I have a project I'll talk about next time, which I will surely have finished. That's another secret that I've chosen. It's a 2-way directional, so it's going to work for me to conserve fabric and be able to flip pieces, but not dramatically on the grain line. I finished something that is the most luxurious thing I've ever made for myself. This is more of that flannel gifted to me from the amazing person.
Yep. I gotta do something
with
mine.
Pretty.
Is that a bathrobe?
It is the nice, yes,
Aww,
it's a bathrobe.
So
Feel this flannel.
Yep.
Feel this
so
flannel.
Snuggly.
I didn't save the salvages. It is thick and amazing.
That's so stupid. I never thought about making my own bathrobe. I was just telling James I really want a bathrobe for Christmas, and I was like, maybe I'll buy my own, but I could make one.
I'll
could
share
just
the
get
pattern
one.
with you. And she gave us this great set of her, from her massive quilting stash. And so there are things that go together color-wise. So there's like a really pretty soft pink and a soft green that I make pajama pants out of, and I got a satin to make a top out of, and those are all cut out and ready to go. And then there's this pretty iris and a really rich, deep burgundy. Mm-hmm. And I knew they would go together, and just by looking at them, it looked like, hey, that should be enough to make a robe. But it wasn't quite. No matter how I laid it out, it wasn't quite. So this pattern is meant to have sections divided off for like color blocking. Mm-hmm. So I was creative about how I did the color blocking. Oh. But then I was able to make it happen. So I like made it a little higher on the sleeve. Mm-hmm. I didn't have enough for the belt. So I took some of the leftover pink from the pajama pants.
It looks great.
But I was like, why would you?
It totally looks intentional.
Because I took a little bit of the other scraps and I added a tiny, this isn't really quite piping.
It's a trim.
Yeah, I folded fabric in half and applied it like a piping where any of the fabrics met each other. And so the pink...
It's probably a lot easier to sew than piping too.
Transition.
Yes, because you don't have to be quite as precise and it looks great.
Yep.
Anyway, it's the most wonderful
That's
thing
really cute.
I've ever made myself. And I love it so much.
Why aren't you wearing it?
I thought about it, but I was afraid you guys would be like, dude, why are you just wearing your robe?
I'd be like, no one told me it was pajama.
Yeah, there would have been spoilers. So I can't wait to finish the pajama pants and the shirts because they go with this, so it'll kind of be an outfit. Like a set. And I'll be wearing it here every day. And someone on Saturday will be like, you have your slippers and your pajamas on? And I'll be like, yes, the studio pajamas I promised you all.
As heard on the podcast, if you were listening.
Yes. I'm not done yet. I made 3 button-down shirts for Dante.
Dang, girl.
One twirly skirt for Mirabella. 1 simple skirt, which that's when you just kind of take the width of the fabric, put a casing and a hem in. And 2 little girl pajama sets, which I am calling... the cutest pajamas in the world. Oh, it's this duckling fabric. I thought I brought the pattern out. I did. It's a duckling fabric, and then I got this tiny little yellow, kind of sort of like a rickrack that I put at the yoke. So it's a little girl's pajama with a yoke and a gathered top, and then simple pajama pants. Rubber duckies, yellow trim, and then Mirabella puts it on, and she answers you with quack quack the whole night. And you think it's gonna wear on you, but it's really damn adorable. So
that's awesome.
I'm not going to talk about what it's going to look like, but now, because that was a prototype to see how the fit and the wash and wear is, to see if I could with not serging it, but I'm going to make matching pajamas for her and my nieces for when we see them at Christmas.
New year. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you teach me how to use that serger.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It's stupid easy.
I took a lesson on mine, then I was like, oh, I could do that. Mostly just about the threading. I needed somebody to hold my hand.
And that's okay, because when you learn the trick of tying
I traded a lesson with somebody who was a sewing teacher, and it was great.
Yeah. They're so easy.
Yeah.
Anything
else on your giant list?
Yeah, my only yarny thing was that shawl that's not really finished.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I turned completely, I'm like, oh, great plan, Anne. No.
You said it out loud, and then it was destined to not be.
The more rigid something is, the quicker I'm going to abandon it.
Yeah, it's like I reject structure all the time, and I think it's part of my passive-aggressive behavior that I am so passive-aggressive that I think they also call it self-destructive. But at least I mostly keep it contained within yarny.
It's like supposed to be a guideline. I like things that are a guideline, not a ABC, follow this exactly.
But sometimes breaking things down into ABCD makes it
doable.
Yeah, so
and not overwhelming.
But yeah, I sewed like a fiend. I've sewed like I haven't sewn since I was probably in high school, when I would like stay up all night and sew things. I was hoping I could report I had the tamarack done, but I started to get tired last night, and
bad things happen when you sew and you're tired.
And I want it to turn out nice and to have good feelings associated with it. So if I'm like ripping and angry and tired and back achy, I won't feel good about it.
It's important to listen to yourself where it's like, I need to stop right now. Yeah. Because then you're upset and things happen.
And then I'd never finish it.
Yep.
Because I feel bad.
I understand.
But man, this robe is really great. I love it. And all the pajama pants were that easy peasy simplicity one piece pattern.
My favorite pajama pants pattern is, I think it's free. It's from a pattern designer called 5 out of 4 Patterns, and it's like family sizes, so all the sizes in the world.
That's amazing.
And she has like all the options for like if you want trim, if you want elastic, if you want a cord, if you want whatever. Yeah.
So I stumbled on this simplicity pajama pattern, which is a discontinued pattern. It's 1569, but it's a classic little girl's pajamas.
It's very cute.
I went to Fabric Town because they have a pretty decent collection of discontinued patterns at a discount. Because I can't find my favorite button-down shirt, which is the one I made the tiger. And I can't find the pattern. It has to be in my office.
I would
and
think
it's
so.
not that bad in there. So
And you just cleaned it recently.
yeah, so like it has to be in one of the boxes, but I was just too frustrated to keep looking.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have it though. But I found this other distracting thing. The end. That's
Okay.
what I finished. What have you finished, Katie?
I finished 3 hats.
Very nice.
The first one was the Snow Day hat by Pearl Soho that I used the yarn that I bought at our trip last month.
Oh yeah, I got to work on that.
So I held together 2 strands. It was like a gold and a cream.
It was
And it's
delicious
super duper
looking.
chunky. I don't know when I'm going to wear it, but it was just like, I just needed to knit it. It was so soft and squishy with a big giant fluffy pom-pom on top. And then we did a custom yarn colorway for our harvest party. So we spent the night dyeing yarn one night, and I knit a hat. We spent all night dyeing yarn one night.
Can we, I guess, say that we all finished something? We finished...
Yeah, put that on your list. We finished dyeing 30 skeins of yarn.
And when we say all
in
night,
one night.
yeah, we were
started at
leaving
9
at
o'clock.
like 2:30 and 3 a.m.
I left at one point. I was like, see you guys, I gotta go
I'm
home.
calling you the 2:30 one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, yeah.
I knit a hat with the DK base that we chose.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it was just a basic beanie, like slouchy beanie. But I'm very happy with the way the yarn worked out.
Exactly.
I'm
It does
very
a self-stripey thing that's fairly consistent.
It's not pooling weird. It's got like just perfect little
Dang,
stripies.
We did good.
We did such a good job, guys.
So there's still a few hanks left of something.
And you can buy them on our website if you're listening to this and you can't get into the studio.
Yeah.
And we'll ship it to you.
Yeah. And then I knit this. So this is a hat for my niece.
adorable.
I'm like, what is that yarn?
Yes.
It looks like
I
faux
have-
fur.
It's hold on. The yarn is Lion Brand Go for Faux is the name of the yarn, and the colorway is called Pink Poodle.
It's fantastic.
I had one ball in my stash because I just thought it would look
That
fun.
is so adorable. It's very 60s.
It's super duper. It's so snuggly.
Oh,
I'm like, I need to knit a cowl or something out of it because you just have to feel it.
it's very dense.
I know.
It's delightful.
It's super squishy. So I had one ball and I knitted a little quick hat for my niece. There's a pattern, I think it's called Cheltenham or something. There's a free pattern for this yarn, and that's what I used. Instead of 50 stitches, I cast on 48, and I used size 10 needles instead of 10.5 to make it a little smaller because she's only 4. But I tried it on my 3-year-old nephew, and it fit him, so I think it'll fit her.
Yep.
But it's super duper fuzzy. It just looks like faux fur. Like you could find the stitches if you looked really hard, but it's super snoogly.
That would look cute in The Snuggle is Real.
Yeah, they have a free cowl pattern for this yarn, but I want to make something out of it for myself because it's very soft and snuggly.
How is it to work with?
Difficult. No, it wasn't that bad.
But worth
It was definitely worth it. The yarn itself is like fur coming off of like a ribbon base, and it's pretty easy to feel the stitch.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to see the stitch, but if you're good at knitting by feel, like if you don't have to look at your stitches every time, it wasn't too hard to knit.
That could be movie theater knitting then.
Yeah.
When you have
Yeah, you do it by
really
feel.
You gotta do it by feel
Yep.
when you're in the movies.
And then I crocheted a throw blanket for our trailer for when we go camping. I wanted just a snuggly blanket that I could throw in the wash if it gets dirty. I could use it outside. I used Hobby Lobby's like basic acrylic yarn in a navy and like a light gray. And do you need a stitch marker?
kind of permanently? Like
You can have it.
Okay, thank you.
I have lots. I used a
until
navy.
this chart's over. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Just leave it in my office when you're done with that. It was navy and like a light gray, and I held it together, and I just did a double crochets all the way across the row, so it's real dense and snuggly. And I finished that, and I used it a couple weekends ago when we were camping, and it was great and snuggly. And that is all I have finished in the last month. A couple hats and that blanket.
I liked what you posted on Instagram about that project.
Yeah, it's super cheap. I mean, it's not super cheap yarn. There are cheaper. I think it was like $4.99 a skein, and I used 4 of each color, so it was 8 skeins. And I think when I bought them, they were on sale. So it's actually pretty good quality for acrylic. It's very soft, very snuggly. I wouldn't make a sweater out of it for myself. But, every yarn has its purpose.
Yep, I like that.
Every yarn lives in some sort of project, and that was the perfect project for that yarn. I might use that yarn for a sweater for, like, a kid, if it's machine washable and it comes in a million colors. So it was a very cost-effective project, and I liked it.
And it's doing its job.
It's doing its job. Somebody commented on my Instagram, because I said it's nice for, using at the campfire or hanging out, whatever. And she was like, be careful at the campfire because acrylic melts. And I was like, that is a good point. I'm not going to get that close, but it's good to know that you're thinking of me. I appreciate it.
That is thoughtful.
Yeah.
Literally.
So this is our December episode, which means that the holidays are around the corner. All 3 of us celebrate Christmas, but whatever holiday you celebrate, it's around the corner. I think Hanukkah is pretty close to Christmas this year.
I hear that it's like right on top of it this year.
Yeah, I think it goes over Christmas. So yeah, we're all celebrating soonish. When we're recording this, it's about a week before Thanksgiving, but it's on its way. The holidays are here, I would say.
Grinch. Like, that's how I celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
There's just other holidays I like better. I'm so shy about expressing that.
Christmas is my most favorite holiday.
Oh.
So I have a couple of questions that I thought would just be a fun little thing to do. It's called the Holly Jolly Holiday Tag.
That sounds good.
It's a list of 15 questions. I don't know how far we'll get, but we'll see how far we get. So I figure we could just answer each of them as, relatively quickly. Do you start on your Christmas shopping, or I'm going to throw in making on Black Friday, or do you wait until the last minute?
You can go first, Karin.
Well, we've already been Christmas shopping. We tried it, but by Christmas shopping, I mean I order stuff off my son's wish lists off of Amazon, and they don't know what they're getting it. But and we tried to do that starting when the birthdays start in September, because make use, kind of spread the cost of Christmas out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what we have. My husband will come up with something at the very last minute. Oh no, we don't have enough, because between the 2 of us, he overdoes Christmas. The problem when you start, anyway, yes. We do early. We also do last minute. I don't do Black Friday.
Yeah, I don't do Black Friday. James will do Black Friday if there's something specific he's looking for that's a good deal. I would rather stay home and pay more the next day. Or wait for Cyber Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, like, because a lot of the sales go to Saturday too.
Yeah.
So you are risking
I try
choice. But
yes. There's other things. I try to think ahead, so I've bought a couple Christmas presents so far, but just little things, and then some things I have to wait because we do like a holiday, like a gift exchange, and we haven't drawn names yet, so I don't know who I'm going to get. So I try to get started early, but I'm usually done with at least a week or 2 before Christmas.
Yeah, it's a mix. Like, I definitely, Black Friday means nothing to me. So I don't want to go out on Black Friday morning. I've only ever done that once in my life.
Yeah, I have no desire.
So it's a total mix. Like, I have become, because last minute is so stressful, and that is what I don't usually like about the December holidays, I have tried to be a better planner and back away from anything that's going to put me up against stupid
stress.
Deadlines.
Yeah.
So I tried not to be last minute.
Yeah.
So, but Black Friday means nothing to me.
Okay, question number 2. If you could be in any Christmas movie, which would it be? I'm going to say I want to be in White Christmas just because I want to
Oh,
go
that's
to
so good.
New England's Winter Playground.
Is there any So, I was just looking at somebody's Instagram that they had a total non sequitur of how hot Gene Kelly was.
Mm-hmm.
It's this like gorgeous picture that is apparently by the photographer who photographed the couple kissing in Times Square.
Uh-huh.
It's this beautiful picture of Gene Kelly. So what is a Christmas movie with Gene Kelly?
I have no idea.
Because I'd be in
You
that
want to
one.
be in just so that you
Yeah.
can be near Gene Kelly.
Because he was a hottie. Like, amazing dancer. But he was
But
like
he was cute.
very hot. Like, yeah. I don't know how tall he was. That's a deal breaker.
So what movie do you want to be in?
I would be in something that was like claymation.
Oh,
A Year Without a Santa Claus or
I would
Rudolph.
Yeah, something like that. Not the one where the stupid teacher sings. I have to tune that down every single time. I've got that stuck in my head already. Oh, please
Where
don't
the
say
good teacher sings?
Yeah, there's always tomorrow. Yeah, I hope I get that earworm in here. Santa Claus is coming to town. Anyway. But I want to be with Cornelius. I want to be with
Yukon
the Bumble.
Cornelius?
I want to be with Yukon Cornelius. I want to go
That's
to
Rudolph.
the island of misfit toys.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Except claymation movies creep me
They
out.
are creepy.
Yeah.
They don't hold up well as far as
And-
like the animation goes.
And I
They're
want to
real
do the
creepy.
one, and I want to be in the one with Drew Barrymore. So I want to mash
Drew
them all
Barrymore.
together.
What is the one with Drew Barrymore?
You know, the
We
one
need
with
names.
I don't know.
She
The one
she
with
does the
Drew
voiceover
Barrymore?
work. It's about the dog, but everyone thinks it's a
I have no idea. Oh, I know what you're talking about. All of the Other Reindeer.
all of the
I
other
love
ones.
that
That
movie.
is cute.
See, I did not know Drew Barrymore was in that, but I knew what you're talking
She's
about.
Olive.
I did not know that.
That's her voice.
All right, the actual two movies I'd be in are The Holiday. That's
Yeah. Kate Winslet
Kate
and
Winslet and Cameron Diaz.
yeah.
Because the knitwear in that is
Is
amazing.
it good? I haven't
It's
watched that movie in a
amazing.
while.
And A Christmas Story. I
Yeah.
think I'd want to be the evil elf who pushes the
Oh,
dough.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Anyway.
Okay. Question 3. What do you like better, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah. No
Christmas
contest.
Day.
Yeah.
We don't do anything for. Really don't do anything for Christmas Eve.
We've
Other
just,
than snack, we don't do real food on
yeah,
Christmas Eve.
we've
'cause-
just started. I mean, not just started. We've recently gained more Christmas Eve traditions. So Christmas Eve is pretty fun because we do like a white elephant gift exchange. It gets a little rowdy. So, but I think I would choose Christmas Day.
Rowdy, that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve is our small family handmade gift exchange. So I find myself much more looking forward to that than
Yeah.
any of the other
Than the big stuff you have to do
festivities.
on Christmas Day.
Yep.
I could see that.
Yep.
Okay. When does your family put up your Christmas tree and who decorates it?
Kevin puts it up the day Black Friday.
Black
That is
Friday.
what Black Friday means to us. And that weekend he puts up the outdoor Christmas lights.
James and I usually get our own tree, like a little one, and we there's no set time for when we decorate it.
Like
but
you get a tree and he gets a tree.
no, like we share a,
like a tabletop.
couple tree, even though we live with roommates, my parents. So my parents will also get a tree, so we'll have 2 Christmas trees,
That's
but we don't have a set date. We usually wait until like mid-month because we get real Christmas trees.
no, oh, I can't do that. I'm allergic.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm allergic. We have had the same tree for like 20 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But it was such a good deal. We got it like at Target when we got it like 80% off or something like that. And we fluff it in such a way that people come up and they touch it because they think it looks real.
I always say that James has a couple like hidden talents, and one of them, like his most skilled talent, is packing as many Christmas lights as possible on the tree.
Oh.
He is a professional, and you'll never see a cord.
Bless his
He can
heart.
put like eight
yeah.
cords, 8 things on a tree, and you'll never see a cord.
Oh yeah,
He's
the
a
trick is that
professional.
weaving that extra in and out so it's
He's good.
Yep.
He could probably make some Christmas money at that.
He probably could.
Yeah. It's a lot less dangerous too than hanging lights on people's
That's
houses.
true. It's just walking around.
Yeah, let me come to your house. I'll
Maybe
light
a
your
ladder
tree.
if you have a big tree.
Yeah. I love Christmas lights.
That leads to my
so
next
that
question:
is-
white or colored lights?
Both.
Yeah.
That's easy.
I would vote for both.
Yeah.
Both depending on where they are. Some
And-
on the tree we have and bubble lights.
Oh,
If you've got them,
If
I
you've
could
got
take or
'em.
leave them. Honestly, I like them.
The problem is they really only work for the first year, and then after that You're forever trying to keep them from tilting and falling over. And of course, if they were on a real tree, maybe they would stay up.
But I
Maybe.
think like with LED stuff too, like
Yeah.
because the cord twists or
No, the weight of them being
They don't
used
stay
year after
upright.
year. Now they're not filled with toxic liquid like they used to be, and the refills, but they only they light up, but then they only bubble for like the first year, and then after that you get like the occasional bloop.
I like all the novelty lights. So
Yeah.
like I'm down with bubble lights, but I just love as much twinkle as possible.
Yeah, I think we usually do colored lights, and then we have a strand of white that twinkles.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guilty of ever peeking at your presents?
Yes.
Yeah.
I ruined a
Once.
Christmas one year.
I've
Yeah.
done that once, and I
Yeah.
never did it again.
Yeah.
See, yeah, you get cured. I did it once as a child.
I think I was like a teenager, and I
Oh.
peeked, and I was like, I've ruined everything.
I know. So my
Especially
little brother and I
if
had
it's not what you
industry.
wanted.
Oh, I never got to pick. Like
I don't
come-
remember what it was or if
like,
I
you
wanted
know,
it, but
You do your. My mom caught my brother and I found her Christmas stash, and then we tried to pretend that we were like excited about everything.
Oh, but
It's just
she
like
knows.
stop it. She's like literally while we were
She
opening
knew.
Christmas presents,
She
she's like,
knows.
"Stop it, Anne." No, she knew. She caught us. Like it was like you're sitting in the middle of the loot train and
Yeah.
you've been caught. So Karin, you were saying like you order off your kids' wish list. I don't care about your wish list. Don't give me a wish list. Don't ask me what my kids want because I don't care what they want. I'm going to buy them what I want to give them,
Oh,
which
well,
is how I was raised.
I don't always go straight from
No,
their list, but I
yeah.
let their list influence.
yeah.
You know,
There's
That's
no
very
judgment.
nice
Well-
of you.
well,
I
yeah,
think
and-
you're a better person.
Well,
than me,
and
but we
sometimes
know that,
sometimes
so.
my kids have like, they know that part of the list is for them. I'm like, oh hell no, am I spending that much?
Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
know,
like, okay, you've got that as a young adult with your job, you can buy that for yourself. And then
Another
there's a
thing-
range, but at
yeah.
least I have a range of things, and it really helps because my mom-in-law wants to shop for and wants to.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I'm not at that place in life, but I can imagine, what do you get your adult grandchildren?
Yeah.
Well,
You know, that's not
even
necessarily money or cash.
your children being adults now, it's probably more challenging to think of. Like we've switched to just giving Alexander gift cards because
That's all they really want.
We'll know he will put it to use of what he wants.
Question number 7 says, would you rather live in a gingerbread house or in Santa's workshop?
Don't we live in Santa's workshop?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
24/7 making.
I'm Santa and I'm working.
I want to work in the workshop, but I want to be in the quiet wing. All the noise of
there
all
one?
those little hammers would just like make my migraine go squirrely.
Yeah.
But then I'd worry about the woodland creatures eating my house.
You would get tired of the smell of ginger after a while, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your brain would stop paying attention to it.
That's true.
Or my children would eat them.
Yeah.
Would
Right.
eat
Why
the
am I
house.
repairing this house all the time?
I replaced the roof last year.
Don't you know how hard I work every day in Santa's workshop?
This will be the first year
Oh
that
my
we
God.
don't put one of those frustrating gingerbread houses together.
My sister and I have a tradition where we buy a gingerbread house kit and then we get drunk and do it together. And it's one of my favorite
Wow.
traditions.
Okay,
Pictures
drunk
of all
gin-
that or what?
I do have a picture of it's last year my mom and James helped, but that
That's
has become a thing that we
hysterical.
do every year. It's
Oh,
like
that
drink
is
wine and make a gingerbread
hysterical.
house.
That's fantastic. We did it as a New Year's thing a couple of years ago where we bought like Winco has cute little kits and we bought them on the 31st and they were like $1 each. And so we bought a kit for everyone in the family and we all made them and Alexander tolerated and the kids had a good time. And then we drank and ate them.
Yeah.
That's Kevin and I.
Yeah. Number 8 says to tell us about your Christmas Eve traditions, but we kind of already did that.
Yeah.
So
Gift exchange for life.
number 9 says if you could be under the mistletoe with anyone, who would it be? Gene Kelly? I suppose we should all say our husband.
Yeah. Kevin. I mean,
Uh-huh.
geez, Katie.
Number 10 says what tops your Christmas tree?
Nothing. And
Nothing?
it's sort of like the Christmas stocking issue.
It's hard to find the right one.
Yeah.
That's sad. I'm sad for you.
My
We have
mom
the same.
has...
Go ahead.
Good. Well, I was going to say, my mom has the thing I want.
Uh-huh.
And I've tried to sit down and make it in the past, but I get... it's a very intricate pattern. So my grandmother made this gorgeous crocheted star.
Oh, that's cool.
And I've tried to copy it in years past. And I've even made, it's not a project I see through to the end. And that's what I'd like to have as my tree topper. So
someday.
Yeah. Aspirationally, it's a copy of my grandmother's star that she crocheted.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
My mom has this beautiful,
no.
She has this beautiful angel. Like, she's got the prettiest face, and she's like porcelain with this big flowy dress, and I love her.
That's beautiful.
James and I bought one of those really cheesy light up ones that like projects something onto the ceiling.
Oh, those are cool.
So it's got like big swirly lights on the top, and I was like, this is ridiculous, and I want it.
That's totally what I like.
So we have a big sparkly star that projects lights on the ceiling.
Nice. And Karin, you have
we have the same thing that we've had. See, we actually bought it when we were newlyweds, so it's lasted almost 30 years.
Is it a star, an angel?
It's one of those plastic things. If it's on top and it's got it's a star shape, but they have little itty bitty lights that we've had to replace, and it has the colored tinsel and stuff. It's very cheesy.
Festive.
Mm-hmm. And we do decorate the outside, but by we I mean I have now been able to relegate all of my portion of the decorating.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to delegate it to everybody else, and
That's
I don't
nice.
do any of that decorating because
I hate decorating.
I love decorating.
because I will have been cooking for 4 days before that, so I don't get to. And I used to do the Christmas Village. Now I got my son to do that.
James does the
I don't
Christmas
even do the
Village.
Christmas Village anymore. I am super happy.
We have a tradition where when we were kids, my dad would take us to go chop down a real Christmas tree.
Oh wow!
And so we would go. There was a farm. Well, it's still there, between Fillmore and Santa Paula. And so we would go pick out the tree, and my mom would stay home. So she never got to go pick out the tree, but she would stay home and like make hot cocoa or something cute, and like get all the stuff out so that when we got home, she was the one that put all the lights on the tree. That was her job. Can you name all the 12 days of Christmas?
Do we do it in song? Or...
You could.
No.
Let's start from 12. Or I suppose we should start from 1.
Oh,
Are you going to Google it?
Am I Googling?
No.
All right, there's a partridge in a pear tree.
2 turtle doves.
3
French hens.
4 calling birds.
5 golden rings.
Yeah. 6. Now it gets
6
hard.
pounds of back bacon. No,
No!
that's the wrong.
I love it.
But okay,
I gotta think.
That's
from,
the Doug McKenzie's version.
I gotta sing backwards through the
McKenzie
song
Brothers.
in my head. So 12 drummers
6.
drumming, 11 lords a leaping, maybe 10 ladies dancing. 9 lords a leaping. Oh crap! What's 11?
No, there's ladies milk. Like, isn't there
Maids a milking.
What is that one?
7 swans a swimming. 6 geese a laying. So 12
So 8
drummers drumming, 11
8
pipers piping.
8 maids a milking.
10
8 maid rhymes.
Okay.
Sure.
10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying,
5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves,
And
a
and
partridge
beer
in
in
a
a toque.
Wow, good job.
Yes. No Googling. Just teamwork.
That was teamwork.
Pretty good.
Have
And
you ever?
if you haven't heard that other version, you gotta listen to it.
Also, Straight No Chasers, 12 Days of Christmas is amazing.
Yes, my husband loves that.
Have you ever gone Christmas caroling?
Yeah,
have.
I did in high school.
We did.
The youth group, I
When the
think.
kids were little, we did all kinds of stuff
Yep.
like that.
Do you do a countdown to Christmas?
Yes.
Yep.
So, it is the most wonderful thing in my house. Kevin buys the children a Lego calendar every year.
Those are
And
so fun.
they're allowed to get into their Lego calendar when they are fully prepared for the school day.
Oh, that's
so that
nice.
is, you are dressed, hair brushed, backpack ready, breakfast going. You may now
Do they
open
each
that.
get a calendar, or do
Yes.
they have to share
No.
one?
Oh, goodness, no. It'd probably have to be raising better people if they had to share it, but no. They each get their own. They now get to, like, pick the theme. It used to be something Kevin just, like, surprised the boys with, and then when Mirabella got old enough, she got to start picking her own. So it's a Star Wars Lego calendar, usually.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dante picked... He must have, because he's very excited about the new Mandalorian, so it has to be.
That show is so good.
It is good. It's
so
the
good.
first thing, other than Rogue One, I've liked
It's
in a
so
long time.
good.
Um,
I love a paper chain. When I was
those are
into an adult, I would
fun.
make myself count down paper chains. But I think that's going to be a craft me and my niece are gonna do because she's very crafty.
I love
And she could make, if you taught her how, she would make paper chains all day.
Oh, yes.
So I think we're going to make paper chains for Countdown. But my mom also has like a advent calendar with like everybody's name in it. And it's Katie's day to get my pair of socks or whatever. So yes, we always count down.
Yeah, I would like a grown-up one.
Yeah.
Kevin made a money one for Alexander, I think 17, when he was 17 or 18. And he put $1 in each one in different forms.
That's funny.
So the pennies are fun.
Back in the good old days, my dad would end the countdown. The last 3 days would each have a $100 bill sticking out, and you could see it sticking out. And you'd have to wait until your day. That we don't get that anymore because we're grown. But that was like his little treat. Or sometimes it would be earlier in the month, and he would like that would be our budget for going Christmas shopping.
That's cool.
We have one that's like the young men.
They're boys.
That they take turns, but someone always forgets their day, and then they have an argument over should the dove, because it's the nativity scene, and there's stars and there's doves and there's wise men and frankincense and myrrh, and no, you can't put the donkeys before that, and who is putting this out first? And of course, baby Jesus is last. But there's only 24. There's actually 25.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think all advent calendars. Are
we
24.
always get the the chocolate ones are 25.
No,
the
Trader Joe's ones are 24.
Trader Joe's are okay. Never mind.
Sorry, even
So
because
okay,
they
but
get,
if you want to get
they
the
get
Trader
their
Joe's,
$1 one.
I tell you, I made the mistake of not jumping on those Trader Joe's ones.
I know.
Right away. You got to get as soon as
you see them, you have to buy them.
as soon as Halloween is over.
Yeah.
You got to get them the next
Probably
week.
we missed them already.
Yeah, I saw them in stores and I
got
didn't
them.
buy one.
They had 4 different kinds, so each one of them, even though they're grown, they still like chocolate.
I still
And
like
this
chocolate.
year, I got myself an advent calendar with yarny goodness from Cat Sandwich Fibers.
That's awesome.
I'm so glad that I paid for it months and months ago, or I would go. Eep.
Yeah, now that it's the holiday season and
It's
there's
already
other
paid
things.
for it. I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've never had one of those before. Have you guys ever done that?
Yeah, I did it last year.
time.
No,
yeah.
I did it 2 years ago. Because I started it, little mini skeins, and I was knitting a shawl as I went. And then we had the fun of the Thomas Fire. That really offset my speed.
Yeah.
So I did not finish it that year because
Hey,
there
same
were a lot of
problem
things
with this
going
project.
on. So I finished it the next year. But yes, I did have one. It was very fun.
I think I would like to do one year.
Yeah.
I do like that she gave you options. It was really not just, it wasn't so much Advent, it was the holidays of whatever you celebrate Advent.
Oh, that's cool.
So you had your choice of what size, if you wanted it for 12 days or for whatever days of your holiday.
That's awesome.
Or if you wanted full skeins or partial skeins. She gave you a range of options in various price points. So it made it more affordable for everyone.
Yeah.
But since I was planning this out last summer, I went for the big one. So I don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever done the treat myself.
Ever?
At Christmas.
Yeah. It's your Christmas present to yourself.
Let's be clear on that.
Okay, we have 2 questions left.
Okay.
What are some foods and treats you can count on having every holiday season?
Whether you want it or not.
Trader Joe's dipped cookies. That's the thing
Yeah.
that it's like.
Or their
buy it now.
peppermint JoJo's are so good.
Awesome. But the dipped ones are like the most
I haven't
wonderful
had those.
thing.
I need to go have them.
The variety pack?
Oh, no, I have had those. Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
right. You're right.
Enjoy
Those
them
are
for
so
me
good.
because the gluten-free versions of
Oh,
those,
they're horrifying.
they
They're
are
good?
they are
Oh.
horrible.
They're
You
awful.
had them?
Yes. They're
They-
awful.
That's
So
really sad.
so disappointing.
Aren't
sorry.
Oreos? No, that's vegan. Anyway, there was some fun fact about Oreos. They're vegan, or maybe some varieties are. Anyway,
Cranlog at both Thanksgiving and Christmas. And
Okay.
I have to hear.
What? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
when it
yeah,
comes
yeah,
out of
yeah,
the-
yeah,
Come on, guys.
Those ridges are so you can cut the slices
it's
better.
it's not Thanksgiving for me without the cranberry sauce from the can. And like my family will make the fancy ones.
I like that too.
And it's delicious, but no, I need the jellied from the can
You
with
gotta
the
hear the
swoopy
sound.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
With the sloopy sound.
I would vote for that as my one thing I have to have. My mom makes Christmas cookies every year, and she makes spritz cookies.
Ooh.
And she has a die that looks like a little dog,
Those are
and we say
so
it looks like
pretty.
Layla. So we have Layla cookies.
Aw.
And they're so good because she makes them like chocolate with like almond extract in them. Anyway, they're delicious. So I have to have Layla dog cookies. Karen?
Food-wise, gravy. Everything's about the gravy.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Everything's a
Arabella.
vehicle for gravy.
Everything is the vehicle for the gravy. if I could just have gravy, and homemade mashed potatoes. Those are my. It cannot be a powdered box. It has to be
What
homemade.
kind of sad person are you that you can't handle cubing mashed? I'm sorry if this is if you love boxed mashed potatoes, but I'm so
My
with
family
you.
So
loves
easy
the
to make
packets.
mashed potatoes.
Okay,
We have boxed mashed
Instant
potatoes
Pot.
for like
Poor
the
thing,
Instant
honey.
Pot makes
Yeah.
the absolute best mashed potatoes. You cube them.
It's the easiest thing to make.
Wait, you don't even have to boil them. You're cooking them in the milk and butter.
I make
Ooh.
if I have
it's
to make
so
a
good.
lot of mashed potatoes, I do crock pot mashed potatoes, and it makes like a crap ton. And it's like just throw everything in, and then in a couple hours you mush it up, and hey,
That's
you got
brilliant.
potatoes.
It's probably the same with
Yeah.
Instant Pot, right?
Same. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
easy to make. Okay,
It's so easy. Just have real potatoes.
we have instant mashed potatoes like for other days besides like holidays.
No.
If it's just like we need something for
So my family, they do the instant, and we buy all the different kinds of flavors, and they're like, I don't really know what flavor this is. They all-
I grew up on
It's
that
got-
because they were
it's got-
charged. Yeah.
Look, it's got little red flakes.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be the red potatoes. It might be butter. I think those green things are chives.
Yeah.
It might be chive flavor, but quite frankly,
Potatoes are cheap.
I know, but it's very easy to make them. Take it up with my
It is
mom. She
easy.
served it to me.
I'm sorry.
I like them.
What's your...
I raised my sons right. They like
Oh.
real potatoes.
Wow.
Wait. For
Wow.
Remember that thing?
My
I
mom
didn't-
listens to our podcast.
Hey, remember that thing I didn't call Karin?
Hey, it's okay because
Oh
because
my God.
my husband is like, oh, those are real potatoes. I like the packaged kind. I'm like, fine.
I
Wow.
feed my children a lot of ramen. Is that...
Oh yeah, that's fine.
They
Okay,
eat real potatoes.
we have one question left, guys.
Sorry, and I apologize for any offense my statement.
I started it.
all on my.
Oh
all on
man,
it.
that's funny.
All right.
How has Christmas kept its magic for you as you've grown older? Oh,
I don't see. That's it. I think my older siblings ruin it.
Oh.
John and Marie don't listen to this, so like I don't remember not believing in Santa because I'd like when it was ruined for me because I just never believed.
Yeah.
Like
I have the same thing. I don't have like a time that I can think of like, oh, I learned that he wasn't real. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah.
I just always in my heart feeling like knew, but
Yeah. So Mirabella still kind of believes.
Uh-huh.
She is 8.
that's a decent age to believe.
I
Yeah.
was.
That's one of the
4.
maybe last ones.
So I don't.
It was
remember
easier.
when.
It was
Yeah, I don't
easier
know.
to believe. We were super, super poor, and it was easier to believe that he didn't exist than to think that he would pass by our house.
Oh.
So,
Karen.
but that's not to say that we don't have Santa gifts.
Of course,
And because it pays to be a believer come December 24th.
I think one of the reasons
the stockings come from Santa.
Yeah.
Anything real gets wrapped in the present. And the stockings are like, for me, they're like, we get sodas and candies and other kind of things.
Kevin goes to the dollar store and goes nuts.
Yeah.
But for my husband, it's also whatever toys that he can get, that he can wrap and add into there. Any CDs, any other things
that fit in a stocking.
or things that no, they don't have to fit in the
That's
stocking.
true.
They fit underneath the stocking.
That's my
'cause
sister.
It's
Yeah.
called. He bought way too much during the summer, and he doesn't want to leave it in the closet for another year. So sometimes it might even be bigger than the
Yeah.
stocking.
Yeah.
But
My
for the most
sister
part,
does that.
it's under a price point.
I remember, I think maybe one of the reasons why Santa was didn't lose its magic for me that in any significant way was that our stockings came from Santa and that's it. We didn't have Santa presents.
Yeah.
All the big presents were from my parents, but my cousins who we spend Christmas with got Santa presents. This is from Santa.
And
their
why?
big present was from
Yeah.
Santa. And I'm older than them, so I was like, oh, so this is from your parents.
Yeah.
I know.
And there's you can't dictate what happens in other people's houses, but there is this idea of think about what you're assigning to Santa for exactly what you were willing to share. Other people don't have those means.
Yeah, they
so
don't have
just
the same.
give your kid the magical thing and do that, and then do something modest for Santa because
Because everybody has the same Santa.
Yeah.
And I want we always want the kids to appreciate the giver, the real life living giver.
Yeah, if it's a big gift, it should come from,
But my
somebody
husband, when we moved out to Fillmore, my husband instituted a new thing where I don't know how. I'm not going to spoil the magic because I don't know how he gets access to this. But somehow he hacks Santa's computer and he gets a letter. He has a letter of appreciation from Santa every year.
Oh, that's so
You know what makes me really sad?
You're trying to make me cry tonight.
He tells me how he knows that I have a tough time with my husband and my kids, and how I worked
That's
really hard this year. So it's awesome.
So
that's lovely.
I was going to
ball
say
of
something.
goo your husband is.
Oh, it makes me sad that they don't do the Santa flyover sleigh helicopter thing anymore.
No more?
No, they stopped it a couple years
That
ago.
was so fun.
I
We
know.
were coming home from Christmas Eve service,
Mm-hmm.
and right by the Santa Paula Airport, look,
Yeah.
there's Santa's sleigh.
I know, that was
it's
the
lit
best.
up in the sky. It's
It was
the
like,
best.
I think Finnegan probably would remember because it's been a couple years and he's 5, so he has seen Santa flying. But I don't think any of the other kids. Amron might remember, but I don't think any of the other
We just
nieces
love
or
that
nephews would
his
remember.
sleigh's all lit up.
I know, it was
everyone
so
can
fun.
see.
I remember as a kid being at my grandma's house on
So did
Christmas
the
Eve and like
person-
running outside to go look at Santa.
So somehow they retired.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
That was pretty awesome.
yeah.
If you didn't live in the area or if you missed it, because when we lived in Ventura, we never saw it. It's only
And the helicopter was dark, so you couldn't see the helicopter. It's just holding the sleigh underneath. It's all lit up, and it looks like Santa and a
Spoiler.
reindeer. It's so cute.
I
You'll
didn't
never
know it
see
was a
it again.
helicopter. Spoiler.
I'm so sorry. There's a helicopter.
It's not a thing that's ever going to happen again.
No.
Magic ruined for Karin tonight. Mark your calendar.
I don't have magic in my Christmas anymore. Hey. Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Well, I hope y'all have a good holiday season.
I'm not going to do obsessions.
Oh, I forgot about obsessions. Okay, think of
Can we
something
come
real
up with
quick.
something? I have my thing.
Okay, what are you obsessed with, Anne?
I am obsessed with this show called Dollface that stars
I see that ad and I think I should watch that.
Kat Dennings. I think you'd really like it.
Yeah.
It is. I've only watched a couple episodes, but I love it. She has these like lucid daydreams. Her boyfriend. The premise is her boyfriend breaks up with her after 5 years of this all-consuming relationship, and so she put all her time around him and work. And so she has no female friends to turn to after he exits her life, sort of. The exiting her life, sort of. And, adult friendships are hard. And so I'm not identifying with the end of the relationship thing, but maintaining friendships as adults is very challenging. And so I'm appreciating that. Which then
looks
makes
very
me
funny,
appreciate it's
Makes me
Kat.
feel good because
Kat
I always thought it was
Dennings
just
is
me.
hilarious.
Yeah, she's gorgeous and hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little trouble buying her awkwardness, but not really. How is someone so pretty so awkward?
Yeah, right.
But she pulls it off.
Like what's her name? With the bangs.
Oh, Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, same thing.
Yep.
Anyways, we gotta watch Elf.
Oh, Elf is great. I'll throw out a TV show. We mentioned The Mandalorian. Disney Plus. I'm obsessed with Disney Plus just in general. But if you
My
like,
kids are starting
Did
this
you watch
week.
Encore yet?
no,
Karin, you will
I have
love
so many
Encore.
things to watch.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I
It's
haven't seen it.
Encore.
It's on
Like-
Disney Plus. It's amazing.
Oh.
It's about like
It's-
musical theater kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a
I love
reunion
that.
reenactment
Yeah.
of the last thing they did together.
Yeah, it looks pretty
it's
funny.
painful and awesome at the same time. Anyway.
Oh,
Mandalorian.
if you like Star Wars, it's so good because they have it's a TV show, so they have the time to go like more in depth with different characters and stuff. But I'm obsessed with it.
Now, is it you have to wait week by week?
Yes.
So
I
you
don't
can't binge.
Want to
No.
say
Good. That's
what
actually
they find.
Oh my god,
But-
it's so good.
I don't know anything about it. La, 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 la,
I'm just
listen.
going to say this one
I'm
thing.
closing my ears.
Uh-huh.
My ovaries just about
Oh,
exploded.
it's so good.
It's the cutest of ever.
I know.
Give me the
I'm like,
thumbs up when you're
it,
there,
I
'cause
was
got
saying
fingers
it's
in my
my.
ears. Okay,
Oh,
good.
wait.
No, I'm just no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
just my
Okay.
favorite thing in the Star Wars universe ever.
Yes,
It's so
it is
good.
my favorite. I agree.
Okay, anyway, that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm obsessed with.
Yep.
Obviously. Karen, what do you?
Boring. I don't have an obsession
Oh,
other than
please.
audiobooks.
What are you
Okay.
listening to next?
Well, okay, so I might be binging American Horror Story,
Oh,
which is
that's
not very
exciting.
Christmassy.
That's not an audiobook.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
that
But
is
it's
your
something she's
obsession.
obsessed. If you're binging it, then it sounds
I'm
like you're
binging it.
obsessed with it.
But I think the reason why I'm not really getting totally grossed out because I'm listening to it while I'm doing other things. So
Oh,
I'm
that
not
could be
really.
helpful.
So I'm not really
Did
visually.
you finish season 6 yet?
I'm finishing Cult.
Oh,
Which is season 7.
Because like the wrap up of 6 is pretty gory.
I have not watched.
It was. but it was just so campy too.
Yeah,
so
it was definitely like horror movie, gory.
I actually like the second half of that better. I know it was gross, but it was just like that reality mode start. I'm like, okay, everyone's gonna get killed.
Cult is the scariest one.
It is. It is.
It's realistic.
Yeah, that's why it makes it scary.
I
Anyway.
haven't seen it, but I know people love it.
You don't watch it at all?
I have not watched
You're
it.
so lucky. Because someday you could watch it and enjoy it.
I have that
I didn't
to look
like Game
forward
of
to.
Thrones, but I don't criticize anyone because I'm watching a bunch of stuff that is not edifying. But whatever.
Whatever. You got free time to do with what you like, so it
I'm
doesn't
listening
always
to-
have to
I
be.
knit-
It all has to
Listen.
be edifying?
No,
Depends on who you talk to.
I knit faster when I'm listening to something.
Yeah.
I sew better. Anyway, on
So-
that gory note,
Talk to you later.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see you for the
Merry
next episode in
Christmas.
January.
January.
Merry happy holidays
happy
and all
holiday,
the things.
whatever you celebrate.
Yeah.
May it be blessed.
December
Buy your presents.
18th is our book club episode. So if you want to read a funny book or listen to it, Where'd You Go, Bernadette was great, and I think all enjoyed it.
Yes.
We're going to
really,
talk
really
about
good.
it in just a minute when we record
Yep.
the next episode. But yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.